I'm Tasha. This is the Divergent Disco podcast for neurodivergent entrepreneurs and creatives and talking about life and business and all the things. And today we have one of my favorite people on the planet. They didn't hear that. I don't want to embarrass them. But one of my favorite people on the planet, my therapist, Jaymee Miller. Ah, the crowd goes wild.
God, I feel like I should have had like a walk-up song. You know?
I can add one in editing. That would be great. Yeah. So today, I feel like it's such an important topic, and I'm really excited to talk about this because autistic burnout is something that is really challenging, and it's really also challenging from my perspective, at least, to identify when it's happening, what's going on. So having Jaymee's perspective of how they saw burnout happen for me, I think will help a lot of listeners and or viewers with the experience of burnout. But first, before we get into that, I'm going to have Jaymee introduce themselves, and then we're going to go from there. Hello, Jaymee.
Hi, how are you?
I'm so good.
What happens? Introductions are so weird. I hate them so much.
I'm going to sit back and drink my coffee at
let me struggle through it.
Let you struggle.
Yeah, that seems fitting. That's a good role reversal, you know.
This is awesome for me.
Yeah. So I think, so I'm a licensed LPCC in Ohio. I am waiting for my supervisory designation to clear through the board. So that's
cool.
I'm also licensed in Illinois and have a current application in Kansas. So those are weird, fun things I do on my personal time that you might not know about.
That's awesome.
And a lot of that is to follow clients who are abandoning Ohio. Other than that, I'm not just like super into qualifications, I guess. Like I think they're really important. But I also think they can create kind of a barrier or a sense of like elitism. That's something like I'm not really into in my practice, and part of, I think trying to do things in a more holistic or respectful, equality based, right? Like you're the expert on you. It doesn't really matter what I know. I can just help put it in context.
Yeah.
Which is another big thing, right? Is I really try to synthesize data from folks across each other, right? Especially with autism. Like I primarily diagnose folks later in life. Like they typically are getting diagnosed actually in burnout. We can talk about how those things kind of go together and how it drives folks to seek help and not knowing what help they're seeking.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times they've never met another autist, right? So the only autist they're meeting is through experiences that I can kind of channel across from different clients, obviously anonymously.
And for those of you that don't know, I used to be a therapist. If you're catching this journey later, so Jaymee has seen me through being a therapist, grad school, being a therapist, getting out of being a therapist, doing this whole theater thing with the social medias. Are you okay sharing like your neurodivergent experience in this so-called life?
Yeah, I have really severe ADHD that I struggled with for a really long time. I got diagnosed like I think 5 or 6 times actually before I decided to take medication for it.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And even just my dad a few months ago was like, you got that attention hyper disorder thing, right? And I was like, yeah. He's like, no, I mean like for real though. Like you were kind of a lot as a kid. And I was like, okay, all right, pump the brakes, big guy, thanks. Yeah. So yeah, and with some depression, I think, and being able to separate the two of those can be pretty tricky.
When we first started working together, I came to you because I'm trying to identify like the feeling that I had before I came to you. I was just like, what? Like nothing was making sense at this point in my life. I was like, I'm doing all the things that people say you should do and like following the path that people say you should do, which was like grad school and things. And by the time I found you, I was kind of at this point of,
because I think you still had like a year left, even like you were in the middle of it.
I'll never forget the day that you told me to just eat the damn gluten-free chicken nuggets, because I was being so restrictive with like trying to eat healthy during grad school and trying to be like, you know, still working out and doing all the things. And you were just like, just eat the damn nuggets. And
Yeah.
so I did. For that whole year, I basically ate gluten-free chicken nuggets every day. So what
Did you know that that was a neurodivergent safe food at the time?
No, I sure didn't. And I remember, I remember like drinking, like having glasses of wine to get through homework and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And I can't remember honestly what came first. Do you remember the sobriety or the autism?
Autism.
Well, the autism was always there, but it's always there. Oh, this is my big old juicy ass question.
Yeah.
How, for people listening, how would you describe what you saw in me to even suggest autism? Because I had never once thought about it. Well, TikTok was happening. Autism on TikTok was happening.
Which is actually important. I think I would say I don't really know how a lot of other clinicians feel about it in mass, right? I think that it's a very important part of learning, and I really appreciate some of the stuff that TikTok has done and have really worked to incorporate like folks' experience with it and what they're seeing, not necessarily as part of a diagnostic process, but definitely part of a conversation, right? Because it's giving people language for the first time, and I'm never going to really like poo-poo that, because I know there can be kind of a good turned up nose at TikTok diagnoses, you know?
Yeah.
Quote, quote. So things I think it's kind of twofold, right? So I'll do some things I think I explicitly saw in you, and then kind of like how that has maintained consistent in folks and stuff I still see in folks. And I think the biggest thing is I feel really bad and I don't have an answer, and randomly bursting into tears. That's actually a really big part of it. Yeah.
I remember exactly where I was. I remember I was upstairs in my little cubby hole. Yeah, I remember exactly where I was when I literally was like, I tried to give a client a pad of paper and I couldn't touch it, and just started crying my eyes out.
Yeah. I think I wish I can quantify it, but the biggest thing is like I just kind of get a feeling or a spidey sense, actually. And I'm like, we should kind of maybe go through the actual check boxes of this to see if it's there. But it's typically folks have multiple diagnoses that don't go together. Right.
So would you say that you're looking for symptomology? Because like from a clinical standpoint, okay.
Yep.
So what kind of like symptomology are you like looking out for?
Big red flags like are when someone has previous diagnoses of depression, anxiety, BPD, PTSD, all at the same time, right? Like there's like a certain group that people get like kind of just, I don't want to say like junk diagnoses, but kind of. Yeah. Like they just get kind of like crammed together and they don't really make sense. That's a first like on paper flag when someone reports that. Other symptomology is really just like exacerbation is a big one. I don't want, almost like a hysteria, like, and not in like a classic like 1940s, like you're just the lady.
Yeah.
Being hysterical. That feeling. But like that like exacerbated, hyperventilating, like kind of hysterical. Everybody thinks I'm crazy and that my reactions are disproportionate to my situation, but I feel really terrible.
And that, in my mind, then would go to categorizing like a meltdown, kind of like in front of you.
Yeah. Those, yeah.
Well, yeah, I've had plenty in front of you. Plenty. And I think that's such a skill too, to be able to hold space for that as a clinician, because you can feel so, I'll just speak from my experience. I can feel so extremely crazy. And I use that because like that's what I've been called in the past, by exes or by, friends. And once you find out about autism and kind of categorize certain things, you're like, oh, wait, this is actually a fine response for something that I was going through.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when it comes to autistic burnout,
yeah.
How do I ask this? What are the signs that you see that someone's like getting there?
So that's a great question, right? Like, what is like the line?
Yeah.
I would say like early symptoms would almost mimic like lightweight depression, right? You start to really not want to do stuff. Maybe you're canceling plans more than usual, right? As an undiagnosed person, or someone that is diagnosed, right? Instead of being able to like force yourself to go and know that you'll have a good time once you start, like you no longer can do that.
Yeah.
Right.
That isolation, self-isolation.
Not being able to eat, actually, right? Not being able, like nothing sounds good. I can't make a decision. We're past all of our coping strategies of that's my safe food. Let me pick a texture instead of a taste, right? Like it ain't happening.
I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, wait, am I in burnout right now? But it's so, like, yeah, I'm gonna get there. Out?
I really want to get there because like that's a really big part of my like philosophy and stuff like right now in my practice. So
yeah,
pin it. We're coming back.
I have a pen and I have a hand. I'm writing it down.
Old school of like, do you swear on your podcast?
Oh yeah.
Oh, good.
Oh yeah.
I probably should have asked like 20 minutes ago, but we're lucky we made it this far.
Yeah. Oh, I've already sworn a few times. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even notice. Didn't even talk it. Yeah, just kind of like like fuck this, fuck all these things. Like I can't, right? And then I would honestly, it progresses from there. When you think like, how can it progress? It really can.
There's a specific like malaise. I remember like the feeling of nothing, like everything feels gray, but it's not like the depression gray cloud feeling. It's just like it's almost like I can't see anything in color right now. And that's like the feeling of that.
I would say like I think depression feels like if it's like a very classic, it's not neurodiverse, because I think neurodiverse depression feels a lot different than like a classic clinical depression, right?
Ooh,
I think like
that's juicy.
Well, I'm kind of going to describe, I think, right? Like a clinical depression, I think, right? Like there's a very clear like sadness, right? Like you have all of those other symptoms, right? But there's also the like unbearable dripping sadness, right? That can feel acute and then kind of feel more like dull and like thumpy, right?
Yeah.
Instead of like sharp and needly. But I think neurodiverse depression rarely gets sharp and needly, right? And it cycles like much different, which is where you can treat your neurodiversity and that depression will alleviate, because it's like not technically depression.
So
I think people might get mad about that, but it's okay.
Well, that's my question, I guess, like and I know this isn't specifically your lane, so like if you don't feel comfortable answering, that's totally fine. But when it comes to like treating depression, have you seen where clinicians might, or like psychiatrists might go not the right way?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I've been really fortunate to have psychs that I partner with that are really neurodiverse informed, and then my clients seem to have naturally somehow, I mean, we can kind of know how, but they have great psychs. And so like I did have a client at one point come on Effexor for depression. And we went through some of the ASD testing, and I was like, I'm pretty sure this is what's going on. Like, I don't think you have depression and anxiety. I think it's all autism. And they actually kind of like weaned off their Effexor, which is brutal. So if anybody that has to do that, it's absolutely brutal. And they feel so much better.
That's in my case, I'm on Lexapro, which is an SSRI, if I'm not mistaken. And my anxiety feels very well managed.
So like, I do think there are medications that are great for autism, right? Like naltrexone is another one that's like very popular and really good, the LDN. As far as like over the counter stuff, there's some research, I use that term very lightly, about just GABA supplements. I will say they do have like a really nice like vibes effect.
Yeah. I have to throw in Abilify too, because Abilify has been so helpful for me with.
That's pretty common too.
Yeah, like just like the sensory, not feeling like an exposed nerve all the time, and like being able to actually tolerate. Like it
takes the edge off.
And flows. Yeah. Like there are some days where I really can't tolerate a lot. Like today I couldn't tolerate my hair being on my fucking neck or makeup or the windows open. But there are days where I'm like, okay, I can do this, And I think that is not talked about a lot. Like some of these drugs for the sensory stuff that comes along with autism.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if someone is identifying that they are in burnout, what types of things would you recommend to someone for them? Now, I say this very lightly because we're going back to my hand note. Burnout, is it ever gone? Does it ever go away?
Yeah. So I'll talk about what we think we know versus is that applicable in today's current environment in the United States of America.
Ooh, I got the chills. Yep, we're going there. Let's go.
I got to do it. I can't not, it's just part of it. It's such a big part of it. And so what we know is that like at its simplest form, like yes, burnout, you can get out of it. I think it takes a lot longer than people want it to. Rest. I would say like two things that are really hard to do is rest and engaging in your special interest, right? Those are things that really, really help with burnout. There are more things to it. There's like experts. There's like, I always recommend, I'm going to go ahead and give them a plug, embraceautism.com.
Yes. Oh my God. So good. The resources.
Yeah, they have really, really good. So they're based out of Canada, and it's a all neurodivergent practitioner. So they do diagnostic work, and then they do provide a lot of resources for free that are great as far as like burnout, because like places leading the charge for burnout understanding and recovery are Australia, Canada, the UK. And so Dr. Joey is another one I always throw out. I wish I knew more, but she's Dr. Joey on TikTok. And I don't have any more than that. She's in, I think she goes by she. If I'm not, I apologize. But I think she's out in Australia.
Because the US is too busy making burnout for people. Anyway, continue.
Yeah, I mean, it's aspirin that caused it.
Yeah,
just in case.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Or the MMR vaccine, I think, is what's up on the government website now.
Yeah. My mom actually took. I'm not going to go down this thread. I am. Nope.
Sure?
The dark humor was about.
I wanted really so
dark.
much. Burnout in the U.S. Can it be cured? And so, like, that's a really big shift to make with folks too, right? Like in sessions when I'm working with my clients, is like, look. There's this thing that exists, and we live where we live under the conditions that we live in. And so like what's what's actually reasonable, what's reasonable for you, and what can we do.
Yeah.
And I think, I'm pretty anti-capitalist to start with. I'll throw all that out. And I'm happy to talk about how I work that into my practice if that's ever relevant. But there's, my theory kind of, right, is that level 1 autists are the canaries in the coal mine for capitalism, right? And I don't know if you're familiar with that story or the like canary in the coal mine, like.
You should go into it because yes, but not fully.
Yeah. Well, let me get to my notes. So it's like the short version is that in the late 1800s, early 1900s, right, when we were doing a lot of mining in both the US and the UK, miners were dying from carbon monoxide poisoning and like not knowing why. And there was research coming out about warm-blooded animals, I think it was, right, being able to detect carbon monoxide. And so they started picking canaries, and they would take them down in their little cages. And basically, if the canaries sang, the air was safe. And if they didn't, or they fell over because they're dying,
oh my God,
suffocating, the air is not safe. And why it worked is because the canaries are smaller, right? They have a heightened sensitivity to their environment, and the effects, because of that sensitivity, impact them faster, right? So the miners are being impacted, but because they're bigger, warm-blooded animals, it takes them longer to notice, right? And I think that sensitivity with capitalism is what we're seeing, right? And the kind of stages of capitalism and how everybody's tired. Like, I don't know that anybody would argue that we're not in late stage capitalism as a phase, right?
Yeah.
And so, but the amount of folks quitting jobs, quitting what they went to college for, trying to just do anything to make some money to pay the bills, working part-time, filing disability claims, right? Like, it's gone up.
Yeah.
And it's primarily, right? I'm not going to say it's primarily level 1s. In my practice, that's primarily what I have. So that's what I'm seeing, right? Is because of that sensitivity, right? Like it's affecting them. It's going to affect all of us that way soon.
That feels like some like from my perspective, some like spiritual shit. Cause that right there is, yeah, just like using nature to figure out figure out our needs and like what we need. Okay. So you are a neurodivergent entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And you have your own. Yeah. I was thinking about that today and I was like, yeah, Jaymee is.
Yeah. I guess I wouldn't have thought about that, but yeah.
Yeah. And a creative in your own way, in the way that you do creative things. So in your life, how have you positioned your business to be more affirming to your experience as a neurodivergent entrepreneur?
Like, how do I affirm myself?
Yeah.
Like if I was like my own boss, like kind of.
Yeah, like systems, things that you do, sensory needs, stuff like that.
One of the big things, right, is like I have an office that's out of my home.
Oh my God. I'm learning that might be something I need. Okay. Yes.
Yeah. It's a really, for whatever reason, it really is kind of a like mental hurdle for folks. I think there's this like dream that like working from home is awesome. And like, I think it is for a lot of people, right? It's not for me because part of my neurodivergency, right, when you're talking about ADHD or autism or just ADHD, is the transition, right? So I need a very clear new place that I associate with work and paying attention.
Yes.
And if I don't go into my like pay attention space, it's not going to happen.
I'll have it. It just wreaks havoc. Yeah.
Yeah, it can't happen. It just can't.
What about what you have in your office as far as like how you've set up Because I feel like you are, like how you've set up your computer, even your mics, things like that, because I feel like you are very specific about what you use during sessions.
Mm-hmm.
What have you set up for yourself?
Well, I do fight with it. Like, I do have a new desk on the way. And I think so, like,
Yes.
it is what it is. I'm big on light. Light is a big thing. So, like, I have lamps. I like the light to be kind of evenly distributed throughout a space. And so, like, that's a thing. Um, Fans. I like moving air. I know it's not my wife she says I hate the way air feels on my skin.
Interesting.
But loves a fan. And so, like, she's got a lot of preparation she has to do for that. The way air feels on my skin. So I do that a lot.
Here is my question though. How
Yeah.
It's like this existential thing as an autistic person, which it always is, right? How you can be living your best life, working for yourself, and then like hit places of burnout still. It's,
you know what? Yeah,
cray-cray.
that's valid. I think things that contribute to that, right, are like paid time off. You don't have any, right? And so again, not to go back to capitalism, but we're there.
Always.
Right? Like the I think the fear or the need to make sure that there's income. And so I think back to the entrepreneur neurodivergent part, figuring that stuff out if you can, right? And having a certain kind of like budget for your sick days, right? I would try to resist the temptation to like create your own HR portal and track it.
Oh, yeah, no, that sounds like a nightmare for me, but
yeah, and I think it's great as far as like systems. I set up a ton of systems. A lot of it runs kind of automatic, right? And so I check in maybe like on my administrative stuff or finances, maybe like once a month, once a quarter, and kind of make sure all my receipts are attached and blah blah blah.
Do you consider yourself like a type A or type B person?
What's a type B person? Because you always hear type
A.
Because you always hear type A, like, girl, I'm type A. And I'm like, okay.
I know. So like the way that
what is a type B, actually?
It feels like it's ADHD to me, because
then
type A,
sure.
Type A is like very much like a little bit of no judgment, but rigidity in the systems, organization, the structures. You like things a certain way. Whereas type B, I think, is a little bit the opposite of that, where you have a doom pile on your floor and you still find things. Like that's even a system,
Agreed. I am type A in my mind and I am type B in actual practical application.
Interesting. So
right?
Okay.
Like my mind is very locked up almost in a not helpful way. But like because I can't adhere to that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I actually cannot, like my ADHD doesn't allow me to adhere to that. That's where like it creates all of the like depression or anxiety or issues with self-esteem or feeling kind of stupid, disorganized, messy, dirty, whatever. And so it's like, yeah, if you look at my folder structure on my computer, have I downloaded the same thing 7 times?
Yeah. Sure. Oh my God.
Sure have.
Yeah.
Can I find it though? If somebody asks me, I sure can.
Yeah. Well, that's what a search bar is for.
Yeah. Will I take the time to present information in a clean and crisp and clear way? I will.
So if you are a neurodivergent entrepreneur who has trouble with organization, what is your advice to people to like not fall into like the neurotypical trap of like, this is the way that you need to run your business?
Yeah, I do think so much of it is, I mean, and you can probably speak to this too, as far as like your homeworks maybe from therapy, right? Is like self-observation, right? And collecting data on just how you, not how you think you are or how you want to be, but what are you actually doing, right? Noting the behavior actually, right? Because you have to work with yourself instead of against yourself in all neurodivergence, right? And so if I think every time a transaction comes in and I'm gonna assign it where it needs to go and attach the receipt, and that makes me a good boy, that makes me a good entrepreneur, right? But I know that I can't do that, right? Like then I need to go, I'm not gonna do that. So what do I do instead of like trying to do the thing?
I think that really pertains to so many different aspects of life, is seeing what you had said. I'm paraphrasing, but seeing the version of you like kind of in your mind, but then the actual things you're doing make the actual difference. And I think it's so funny. I was like, I barely talk about sobriety, but I'm bringing in sobriety for a moment of like, I don't think that I black out, or like, I don't think I have too much to drink. And then like, what's your actual tab? What's your actual next day look like? You know? Cause like,
you don't know because you forgot your card at the bar?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to write that down as a therapist.
Yeah. Left it there again. Just a random Tuesday at karaoke.
I don't know. I ordered a new one because whatever.
I lost my ID for the 12th time. Yeah. And I've been really like looking at my relationship to building my own business through a neurodivergent lens. And it's incredible to think that you're doing things in the way that you need to be doing them. But in fact, you're just repeating the patriarchal, neurotypical way of doing things.
Yeah. This is where, right, I think like AI, right, is not terrible, especially for neurodiverse folks, right? Yeah. Like, I'm not against AI as like a tool or an accessibility instrument, right? And I think that like I only really use it for administrative tasks for work, right? It's cheaper than hiring an assistant. My stress is way less, right? And it can cater to what I'm good at, right? Which is going to, like, I always say, right, like there's two kinds of people in the world, right? There's people that can create, that can generate, and there's editors, people that can edit, right? I'm an editor. If I have to generate any, like I freeze, nothing. But if there's a ton of stuff in front of me, I can edit it and arrange it and make it make sense, right? And so I have no problem having AI generate and then editing, rearranging, cutting, adjusting, cross-referencing, right? Like the sources or whatever. So I do think there's like a responsible way to use it, especially as a neurodiverse entrepreneur.
How do we also use it and not destroy the planet, to not to be dramatic?
No,
but talk more about that, like responsible usage.
This is I think the most common argument, and to me it's like recycling, and not to break everyone's heart about recycling, right? But the data is, it doesn't matter what you do, and I do. Like, if everyone on the planet can recycle everything, and Taylor Swift is still going to take her private jet from Nashville to Cleveland, and it undoes it, right? And so it's much more about corporations, billionaires, people that have access to things that are more destructive, right? And so like, we are not the ones that are using AI in mass to harm. Like,
I
we
see.
don't actually have the capability to do that.
I see.
Right? Like, we can run, you can have a half an hour long conversation with AI and it uses the same amount of energy as watching Netflix for 3 hours, you know?
And I think that that is such a blame story
It is, yeah.
to
Mm-hmm.
like how things, even like
Mm-hmm.
imposter syndrome
Yeah,
is
absolutely.
a symptom. It's a made up thing to make you blame yourself for the shit that's going on at the top.
Yeah. And do you know who falls victim to that so much more than others? Neurodiverse
Neurodivergent
people.
people.
Yeah. Because we can sense, right, from a very early age that something's different, that we process things different, right? That we're louder, we're more hyper, we're more quiet, we're more direct, we're more whatever. And so you observe and then you internalize. And that also leads to burnout, right?
Yeah, the masking.
Yeah, that's a really big part of burnout.
I also saw, and I will put this in the show notes because I cannot remember their name right now. They're a clinician online that are, they also are autistic, and they said about the how whiteness is in
Oh, yeah.
masking and
It's a
how
big,
it's
yeah.
all whiteness's fault that like we even mask because it's trying to get in
Adhere to like a
line.
dominant culture. Yeah.
Yes.
Hmm.
Oh God,
I always
my
say that,
brain.
right? Is like politeness, right? Is such a white concept.
What advice do you have for
Hmm.
perhaps finding a clinician in these times? Like, what are the things to look out for if you suspect?
Than that, this may be, I would say this might be controversial amongst certain clinicians, but I think amongst folks needing a clinician, it's actually the best advice is word of mouth, right? You cannot believe a clinician is good with neurodivergence just because they claim to be, right? Which kind of brings me back to like my introduction point, right? Like one of the reasons like I try not to lean on that is like, don't just talk about it, be about it, bro.
Mm-hmm,
You know,
mm-hmm.
I'm good at neurodivergence because it's my whole life,
Yeah.
right? Natural skill sets that I have are articulating my life and drawing conclusions, right? I tried to see when my wife first got diagnosed, because there's a certain amount of, I think, help that partners need that they can't get. And I tried to see someone who specialized in Asperger's. So that's always also a really big red flag, right? If they still believe in Asperger's or have Asperger's listed on a profile.
And why is that for anyone that doesn't know?
Was it 2013 they got rid of it in the DSM?
I think so.
I think and if you want to get into the Nazi ties of the Asperger guy, you're more than welcome to do that. But I think like those are kind of the big ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's autist history is actually really interesting in terms of like how they've been not just persecuted but targeted for military, army, right? All these things. And I think that understanding your systems, whatever, back to picking a practitioner, I think, and so like just don't be afraid, I would say, to make the appointment, interview that person, ask them what they believe, what do they know, and then move on if you need
Yeah.
to,
Yeah.
right?
I think that's a big one too. And what I will also add is being able to speak up for yourself in a way of like, hey, if you don't refer me, give me this diagnosis or refer me to someone else, like I'm going to find someone that will, because I know this about myself. And that's okay. Yep. And like maybe you get 3 people that are all like, no, well, maybe we start thinking about how how it might be something else. But if you have a deep knowing inside of you and you relate to so many different things online and you have done your binder full of research, because we know that autistic people are coming to these appointments knowing a lot of information that
I can tell. Like, I can tell when someone's seeking. I've only had that like twice, where someone was like I think they had something else going on, right? Versus people genuinely need help and need an answer. And I would say too, where like I didn't start in this realm, right? Like, you've very much been with me as I've come into this realm. So like, what are the things that happened with I don't know really to I now know a lot, right? Like, as a client, right? Like, what is that experience like? What was that? What made you stay, right? What made you decide I was doing the work to be able to provide care? Because I think that's important too, if your therapist is willing to learn with you.
Yeah, I feel like that it was always that accountability too, of like, I don't know, but I'm going to help you find out, or I don't know, and I have a great resource, or I think it's this, and then always allowing me to have my own, like, coming to my own conclusions about things, I think was always really helpful. Having someone like that's your teammate, not that's just shoving things down your throat and being like, well, it can't be this because here's the clinical data, because the clinical data sucks,
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. So I love that. And I think that more people, what is that quote about, like, the reason we see more stars is because we have like better tools to see them. And it's not
telescopes,
like, and it's not like people are just like, all of a sudden everyone's autistic. That's not what's happening. We just have more tools now.
We have more tools to diagnose, right? And I think more people are suffering. Again, to me, that's the canary in the coal mine thing. Like, when we still had enough to stay busy, right, as a population, when we had enough to still have some happiness, right, people are less likely to seek help or diagnose, right? Because like they don't necessarily like need to. I would argue it would still be really helpful, but you have people in seeking diagnostic resources more because they're suffering more.
Wait, I just kind of, I just had a light bulb moment. I just fully got.
See, even out of session, this is just who I am.
I know.
My friends are like, shut up.
Wait, it's because like you explain things in a way that is, you take such intricate ideas and make them so digestible.
Smooth. Yeah.
Like it's not like they're simple, but it's like digestible.
Thanks.
That just landed because the canary in the coal mine thing, but also because like when you're doing well, you don't want to go to therapy, but like just go to therapy when you're feeling good too. You never know what might happen, not just when you're suffering, but that's
there's literally more carbon monoxide.
Yes.
Right? Like, and so more canaries are struggling, more canaries are tired, more canaries are falling over because there's actually just more. So it's not that the diagnostic rate has gone up. The environment is in such that people are suffering.
If people want to explore your work or working with you, I know you have a wait list, but where can they go to be in
my
contact
website
with you? Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
You need JaymieMillerTherapy.com, because I'm so creative.
It just pops right up in my search bar. I just go JA, and that is JAYMEE.
Yes. Yeah,
MILLER for people that need it. Okay.
There's only 6 of us in the U.S.
Wow. 6 of a kind.
That is not what Tigger said when I was growing up. Okay.
All right. We need to wrap it up. My God. But I will keep tangenting, and I have half sentences right now. Okay. Well, thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for listening to the Divergent Disco podcast. I'm Tasha, and I just want to say a brief thank you to everyone who listens to this podcast. As we grow and build, it's really wonderful to see folks tuning in. If you like this podcast, if you like this episode, please rate and review. 5 stars are always appreciated, and comment your thoughts. I hope to catch you on the interwebs. I am at tosh.irl_ on Instagram and tashasimpson.social@gmail.com. We'll see you next time.